Okay, welcome back to Inventory Watch. This is where we go over the housing inventory for both homes for sale and rental properties every single week. And this week, I have a brand new analysis for you where I analyze the closings for both homes for sale and rentals to take a look at how price reductions were affecting our market moving forward. And so let's get into it. Let's start off with the homes for sale numbers before we get into the special analysis. And yeah, let's jump into it with new listings. Since this last week was a holiday, we did have Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys enjoyed your time with your family. I know I certainly did. We do have, obviously, this new number here is very, very low with new listings, 886. We don't see a lot of new listings coming through on holiday weeks. So this is definitely something that is normal to see a drop off like this, because most people weren't working Thursday and Friday, as at least like real estate agents were spending time with their families. And so we weren't putting homes on the market. So we did have a short week, which is indicated here. So if we were to compare November to the past 3 months of where we were between November 1st to the 24th, you can see that every month, inventory's been slightly different. We had more inventory has been increasing from September to October. And obviously, I think from August to September as well. I didn't go back that far, but this is the last 90 days. And you can see we've seen less inventory this month for November than we've had. And this is the normal end of the year slowdown, as I've mentioned in the past couple of weeks. So it's normal to see this kind of slowing down. It's actually abnormal to see inventory increasing all the way through October, to be honest with you. So the increase in inventory has been abnormal, but because interest rates are high and the buyers have kind of exited the market, that is what we've been seeing. So I was wondering if we were going to see it slow down through the holidays, and we did. So let's go into total active listings and see what this decrease in brand new listings have done to our market. So our active only inventory last week, we were at 16,259, and that was a consecutive increase. And this is basically the first inventory decrease that we've seen. And so I think from here to the end of the year, like it's probably going to stick around. I feel like inventory is not going to increase that much until the end of the year. And so how we open January and the buyers that we have, like January, February, March, and in the springtime, is really what's going to give us a play on or how the market's going to be for 2024. But as you can see here, we were down 1.1% week over week. So and then we were looking at an average list price of $784,000. That is actually down because the average list price was hanging around at $790-ish. So we're down $6K in the average list price. And price changes were also down 5.8%. But you can see that this is a large part of our market that did see price changes. We were at 50% of our market seeing some kind of a price change. And part of those price reductions in that analysis will be after we go through the rest of the numbers here. So let's talk about new listings. Oops, I don't know why we always go backwards. So let's talk about pendings and contingents. So pendings this week, actually, even with the holiday, I'm actually surprised that there were this many buyers putting homes under contract during the holidays because people weren't listing their houses, but we still had a good amount of buyers out there comparatively. For the last 4 or 5 weeks here, you can see the level wasn't as dramatic going down as it was for the new listings. So buyers are down 5% week over week. Again, not as big as the sellers not coming to the market, but buyers were down, and it's to be expected because of the holiday. The last 30 days average under contract price is $589,000. So I would expect that to actually close for less. And I will tell you, the data that I'm going to show you kind of tells us that they'll probably close between 3 and 6% less than this number here. But let's talk about our pending ratio, because that is a new ratio that we've been tracking. The pending ratio kind of tells us, the higher the pending ratio gets, the more in favor of the market will be towards sellers, and the lower the pending ratio gets, the more the market is in favor of buyers. And last week we were at 38.4%, and this week we're at 38.8%. So not a big change in the market, even though we saw like 1,000 fewer listings this week. It didn't really affect our market that much. So we didn't have a big increase either way towards buyers or selling in this pending ratio moving. So the more we hang out around this 38%, I think the more that we're going to continue to see price reductions happen. So that tells us that 38% is still closer to being in a buyer's favor right now. So sold homes. So sold homes are always low this week. I think we'll see the bulk of the sold homes happen next week, because that would be where November 30th sits will be next week. So I think we'll see an increase next week in sold homes. But as you can see, the larger line is always the week of the last week of, or the last day of the month is always in this larger one, because that's when most of the homes close, the last day of the month. So and so I would imagine going into December, we'll see this continue to kind of drop until the end of the year. And then in January, it should start going the other direction in sold homes. We should start seeing this kind of trend up. If we will see a healthier trend in 2024, we should start to see that go up. If we kind of flatline or we see it continue to go down, that will be something worrisome for our market. So keep an eye on that with me, and join me and continue to watch Inventory Watch to see where our sold home numbers are going. But our normal trend is, after January, to start seeing that number tick up, these sold numbers. I put the same number there. I believe this one on the top here should say 2022. So the number of homes sold November 1st to the 24th, 2022 were 3,800. And this year we were at 3,400. So you can see we did lose about 400 home buyers this year compared to last year during this month of November. There are 4 more closing days left in November, and we're trending down 10%. So the last 30 days sold prices were 593,000 there. So let's talk about this analysis that I did on closings. I feel this is going to be pretty important. If you're planning on selling a house in 2024, you might want to kind of listen to the trends that's happening right now towards the end of the year. Hoping this might turn around a little bit for 2024. If we start to see more buyers come to the market, but that's all up in the air right now as interest rates remain high. So let's take a look at this analysis. In the past 30 days, I analyzed 4,562 closings to get these stats. And out of those 4,000 homes, 4,500, where were we at? 4,562. Out of those homes, I saw that 2,528 homes reduced their price to get that sale, which means that 55% of our market did a price reduction in order to find a buyer, which is a pretty high number. I think we average out between 30 and 35% maybe in average for price reductions. So we are way above average right now. We are 20% above our average, which means that our market is in a little bit of distress here with the lack of buyers. And this next number is important. These 2 stats down here, of the 2,500 homes that reduced their price, 1,245 of them reduce their price more than 3%, which is pretty big. And what I used to tell my sellers in any market, right? There is this analysis that we do to help figure out how far overpriced are we, right? And usually what happens is that hey, if we're getting traffic and we're getting offers, maybe they're not great offers, but at least we're getting offers, right? Then we know we're priced pretty correct. If we're getting traffic, but we're not getting any offers, that tells me that we're about 3% overpriced in any given market, including this market here. So if you're thinking about selling your home, or you have a home listed on the market right now and you're getting traffic, but you're not seeing any offers coming in off of that traffic, that probably means you're about 3% overpriced. And so that's what we saw. And then we saw 667 did more than a 6% price reduction. And so what that means is that, again, when you list your house and say you don't have any traffic coming, and there's no traffic, there's no offers, nobody's coming through, it's like crickets on your listing, that means you're about 6% or more overpriced. And so these people are starting to get it, that they have to do these big price reductions to get these buyers through to look at their homes. So that's where these numbers kind of stand, is that there's a lot of price reductions happening right now. It's not just the fact that 55% of the market did price reductions. It's the fact that we're seeing over, half of those price reductions are more than 3%, which is a pretty big deal, which tells me that they just weren't seeing the traffic coming through without doing a price reduction. So that's a pretty big deal. So let's talk about the other 45% of the market that didn't have a price reduction. So 28% of the market actually got asking price, which meant that they were priced correctly, which meant that they had traffic coming through and they got an offer on the house and it was what they were looking for. And so that was 1,271 of the people that were analyzed. And then the next set is 17% actually got more than asking price, right? These were small increases compared to the decreases, right? We saw probably more than half of those price reductions were greater than 3%. This is the opposite happening for the price increases, right? People who got more than asking price, 81% of them got like between 1% and 3% price increase. Not a lot of, like 19% of them saw over 3% price increase. But you'll have to understand that this is probably not net to the seller, that the people offering these net or price increases, settling on that was probably a lot of them that I looked at were giving seller concessions. So it was like they were probably priced right, and then the buyer probably asked like $10,000 in closing costs or $20,000 to do a rate buy down or something like that, and the sellers probably said, yeah, sure, I'll do that, but the price is going to go from $400 to $420, and then they were willing to do that. So don't think that as a seller that you're going to see $20K in your pocket if you're doing like a 1% to 3% price increase here. Because from what I was seeing, the buyers are getting concessions. Oh, we already talked about got their asking price. That was a duplicate. Okay, so let's go back. So let's take a look at some of them on Zillow. I do have some of them up here. This is one that took a price reduction. We've got this home in Santan Valley. If we come back, I thought I had these all set up, but let's just do a little bit of scrolling so we can see where this home started. Listed for sale in March of 2023 for $494,000. And then it consistently saw price reductions coming down until it was eventually sold for $435,000. So this home took like a $60,000 price reduction on it, and it was listed in March, and it did not close until November. So that is quite like 7 to 8 months of time on market to get sold. Let's look at another one here in Mesa. Here's one that I believe was listed for $500,000. Keep going. So this one was listed in July at $500,000 here, And you can see it was listed July 15th. It went under contract July 21st. It fell out of contract. They reduced the price in August, got another contract, fell out. They did another price reduction until it finally ended up selling for $430,000. So this had a $70,000 price reduction in Mesa. And again, this was listed in July and it closed here in November. So quite a few months on the market. So different than where we just were, a couple of years ago, where it was 6 hours on the market. So let's go back to here. Let's start talking about the rental market, because we are starting to see some interesting things happen in the rental market. Let's see. Okay, let's go back into presentation mode. So don't forget, if you find any of this information valuable, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you can let the algorithm know that you find this content valuable. And let's get into the rental listings. So the rental listings, very similar trend to housing right now, to homes for sale. We did see, big drop in listings, new listings coming to the market. Again, it's Thanksgiving. People aren't thinking about, putting new inventory on the market. And we did see a similar trend with the pendings, with the amount of people. So new listings are down week over week, 12.4%. And we did see the same type of trend with the active listings. We did see it come down about 40 listings. So this is, again, the first time that we saw active inventory kind of decrease. It's been increasing over the last few months. But we did see a big increase in active renters this week, putting applications in on rental properties, probably because the prices have come down pretty dramatically. And we're going to talk about that in the closing analysis that I did for renting. If you're looking to rent a house, this is probably a great time. Rents have come down quite dramatically, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But let's go into the rental inventory. So sold inventory. So we're looking at October. We saw 1844 in the first 3 weeks of October close. And in November, we did see that number go down to 1183. Again, we do have a holiday this month. We also have a holiday next month. So I think the market's going to stagnate a little bit with new listings and new renters coming to the market. It is normal. We did see, so we've been bottoming out on rental prices. Like our average rent price was like $2,500 just a couple months ago, and now we're down to an average rent price. Looks like we kind of hit bottom here at $2,230. We're back at $2,255 this week. So this $2,200 mark seems to be our average. But looking at the price reductions happening in the market, I think we'll continue to see this come down at least through December. And again, January is going to be the tell. We have to wait for how the buyers and the renters react in January to kind of see like, where is our market going to go in 2024 for both rentals and homes for sale. Buyers have been boycotting the market, and so have renters, because prices have been very, very high. But as you can see when we did the buyer analysis, that they are buying, but they're buying like $30,000, $20,000, $70,000 price reductions have been happening on homes for sale. So I analyzed, I went 60 days back just because there were less rentals. So I wanted a number closer to 4,000. So I have 4,771 total analyzed rentals in the last 60 days. And so what we've been seeing is that we've seen a lot of price reductions in rentals. 59% of rentals have had a price reduction of the ones that have closed in the last 60 days. And so that's pretty dramatic that prices on rentals have been coming down. And like I said, we came down from like $2,500 to $2,200. On average, we've seen rents come down $300 a month just over the past few months. So 59% had a price reduction. 36% actually got asking of like what they were asking. So these are the people that weren't overpriced on their listings. And then we saw 4.2% actually saw a price increase. They got more than what they were asking. Let's take a look at a couple of the rentals that did some major price reductions in the market. Let's see. The rentals are over here. So we have this one here that was in Buckeye. Again, I know I've been talking about like homes in like the price reductions happen first in the fringes of the city. So this is Buckeye. This is way in the West Valley. And this one started pretty high. Let's see. Let's get the full rental history here. Listing removed. So this one started at $25.99. Again, just back what I said a few months ago, we were at $2,500 was our average rent. So this one was listed at almost $2,600 back in July. And it just rented here in November for, let's keep going, $1,829. So we went from almost $2,600 in rent to $1,800 of rent in this home here in Buckeye. And this seems like almost like a brand new house. We can take a look at the home details and see when it was built, 2022. So it was just built last year as like a brand new house, basically. They were trying to get $2,600 a month for it. You can see this is a Tricon residential. There's their logo right here on the photo. So that's one of the institutional investors that probably paid a pretty penny for this house. Let's look at this house here. This one you can see there's a logo for Progress Residential. Let's come down and take a look at this one. This one is in Levine, Arizona. So let's start. This one, I believe, was trying to be rented in Levine at $3,000, $30.25 a month back in just July. So this is a bigger house. This is a 3,600 square foot house, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms that they were trying to get $3,000 a month for. You can see it sat on the market, and we had, every couple weeks we had a price reduction, $100 here, $25 there, lots of different price reductions happening. And we ended it rented for $2,280 for almost 4,000 square feet in Levine. So again, this was one in kind of the farther West Valley. I've got spreadsheets full of these. And a lot of them are these institutional investors that have just been slashing the prices on their homes. So that's what we got there. Let's go back to I think that's all I have for this. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. So as you can see, price reductions, 55% of the housing market for the homes for sale, 59% of the rental markets of the closings that I analyzed have all slashed their prices. It's going to continue to happen until something kind of changes in the market, until affordability hits a low with the value that they've dropped to, or until interest rates kind of decrease, bringing affordability back either way. Or inventory increases some crazy amount that will also pull prices down. So the trend right now, there's a lot of forces that are continuing to pull values down in our market. So if you are thinking about selling your house, I think as the months go on, like home values are going to continue to tick down. So if you are thinking about selling your house, I do have another tool for you guys. If you haven't seen it before, I have this tool. You can go to mysoldscore.com. This is a score to help you find out how likely your home will sell in this market. So if you go to mysoldscore.com and click on Get Your Sold Score, there's this cute little bear that's going to wave to you and just tell us about your house. Is a personal property, investment property, give us your address, and then it's going to populate a score for you. If your score is greater than 50, you have a more likely, your home will be more likely to sell in this current market. If your home is under 50, it there are signs showing that it's less likely to sell. Your zip code might be slowing down, but there are things that you can do to get your score up. There's curb appeal, there's pricing, making sure that your home is in tip-top shape, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression when there are not a lot of buyers in these markets like there is now. So if you're thinking about selling, definitely visit mysoldscore.com. This is absolutely free. It will ask you to create a profile so that you can keep track, but that's what I got for you guys today. So appreciate you guys for listening this week. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday, and we will see you next week.